And good morning. It's 7:03 on this Friday, May 15th. It's time to head to Studio B for Coleman and Company.
Well, hello, everybody. We're here. We're glad you're there, and welcome on a Friday morning. Would you believe this is May the 15th, and tomorrow is the middle of the month, and May is almost half over. It doesn't seem possible. Well, we're on the air each Friday at this time for Wilson Bank and Trust. And this morning, Heidi King is here to represent the bank, do the commercial, and talk about investments probably. Heidi, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
It is nice to see you. You and the senator were having a good conversation when I walked in.
Absolutely.
Conversation is a lot of your life, isn't it?
It is. We've been making a lot of phone calls lately.
Well, you're in the investment department at Wilson Bank and been doing this for quite some time. But I always remember you as Heidi Huberry, who was fairest of the fair just a few years ago at SAVE. But you definitely remember that.
I do remember that.
Yeah.
I do. It was some good memories.
How did you get to be at Wilson Bank? Tell us that, if you will.
Absolutely. So I graduated from Cumberland here in Lebanon, worked in real estate for about a year, and while I was at Cumberland, I actually worked at the old Union Planters Bank. So I went back to my banking roots in 2003 and started there as a teller, and the rest, I guess, is history.
Okay. Well, you made a transition from being a teller to actually getting into the financial realm and investments and so on. How'd that come about?
By the grace of God, I think he led me on the right path and introduced me to Mr. Jim Watley, and he taught me everything I know. I think you know Jim.
Oh, I know Jim. He's still doing a little singing, isn't he?
He does a little singing every once in a while and investments on the side. No.
Has he talked you into singing yet?
No, he is not. Nobody wants me to sing.
Okay, whatever. But you love investments.
I absolutely love investments. For over 15 years now, I've loved being a part of the investments in the ever-changing stock market that we have all grown to know and love and hate at times as well.
Well, we saw a terrible drop here in the Dow. It was approaching. I don't know whether it got past 29 or not, but approaching 30, we would say. And last I looked, I think is about 24, and it dropped considerably lower than that at one time.
That's exactly right. Yeah. Back in March.
So what's the message today?
The message today is planning. We can't stress planning enough for our clients because everybody will have an emotional reaction to when the market does do like what it's done over the past several weeks with the coronavirus. And we've seen the fastest drop ever in the history since the Great Depression. So we want to make sure that our clients are armed with a good, solid financial plan so we don't have those emotional reactions when things happen. We have good investments in place, and we've been making proactive phone calls to our clients, Zoom meetings with our clients, just to make sure that nothing's changed for their plan. And if there are, then we'll make some adjustments as needed. But it does help to not sell at the bottom and buy at the top when you've got a good plan in place.
Well, you no doubt have some people who, when something like this happens, they get frustrated, concerned. How do you relieve them maybe of some of this?
I think we relieve them, one, by constant communication. I think it's good to know the facts about what's going on instead of listening to a bunch of different news sources and media. And then I think when we talk to them about their actual account and how it has or has not been affected, because not everything we have for our clients is invested in the stock market. Mm-hmm. So I think having that good mix for their personal risk tolerance and goals is half the battle.
What are some of the other things? Bonds, sure. I suppose?
Yeah, so bonds have fared very well through all of this. Fixed annuities or indexed annuities that actually do not participate in the market, but can still have some decent returns year over year.
And I guess most of all, I think this is a good way to look at it. you want somebody with whatever choice they make to be able to sleep at night and not be worrying about whether they made the right choice as far as investment goes.
That's exactly right. So when we have conversations, especially those initial conversations before a plan is put in place, before one investment is chosen, we want to know what would be those triggers to keep a client up at night, and we avoid those at all costs.
Mm-hmm. Go over that with them so you have a good feel for how they feel,
Absolutely.
what their triggers are, whatever.
Well, and I think as long as you can talk plain English with your clients and make sure you break it down so they do feel comfortable and have a good understanding of what you're talking about, they're gonna trust that you do have the right plan in place and they don't make those emotional reactions when things happen.
And Jim Watley taught you all that.
He taught me everything I know.
Well, you probably deal with people who have been investing for a while. I doubt you have too many new people, maybe, but you probably welcome any and all.
Absolutely. So I met with a couple last week. We're over Zoom meeting just to have an initial conversation and start college planning and retirement planning and things like that for that stage of life, all the way to I'm ready to retire and how do I get money back out of this thing that I've been putting into all these years. So, and everything in between.
Okay. Well, the investment department, Wilson Bank and Trust, and Heidi King is one of several people now. You started out with one person doing this,
Mr. Larry Squires.
Larry Squires, and it's grown to you have it available, I think, in all the branches, 27, 28 branches of Wilson Bank now.
That's exactly right. So we've got 9 advisors covering our entire footprint. So everywhere from Jeff Johnson all the way in Cool Springs, Keith Klein in Murfreesboro, Stephen Russell out in Carthage towards Cookeville, and then myself, David Walden here in Lebanon, and Justin Doris. We've got a whole slew of us.
Okay, since we talked about investments, you got a little disclaimer we need to do before you leave. Heidi.
Always. So securities offered through Raymond James Financial Services, Inc., member FINRA, SIPC, are not guaranteed by Wilson Bank and Trust, subject to risk and may lose value. Not a deposit, not insured by FDIC.
Thank you for being with us today.
Thank
Always
you, Coleman.
good to have you. Wilson Bank and Trust, member FDIC, equal housing lender. Still here, still independent, still committed to you. Excellence in banking since 1987. 10 and a half after the hour. Time for our Friday Senate report. He's here. Senator Mark Pody.
Good morning, Coleman. It's great to be here today.
It's great to have you. We appreciate you coming each Friday, and you have a little bit different message for us, it seems, each week, although some of what we talk about is pretty much the same, but you've kept us up with the times here. You sure have.
Yeah, and now I got to tell you, my anniversary is Sunday, May 17th. And now I try and count it every single day as my anniversary because I've been blessed to be married to my wife. But I want to tell her happy anniversary. I have not forgotten, and so I know she's listening. But
well, that's great that you remembered. Sometimes I forget.
Well, you know,
and I'm reminded of it.
Well, I'm going to tell you what, 48 years, and I have been very, very blessed that God gave me a Proverbs 31 wife, and she's just been awesome, you know, for keeping and supporting me and so forth. And she's been a terrific balance. When I get too high, she kind of knocks me down. If I get too low, she builds me back up. So I've just been very blessed.
Well, I like that expression, a Proverbs 31 wife. And anybody who's familiar with the Bible knows about that. I think it starts out, who can find a virtuous woman and so on. And it tells of the attributes there that I think is something that well, really all women should try to aspire to.
Absolutely. You know, and if God wrote it in the Bible, it's important. And so I bless it. I'm blessed, and I tell God and I thank Him for giving me the wife I've got. So
well, happy anniversary to you both.
Thank you. And we were
What'd
high school.
You say 48?
48 years.
48 years.
Yep.
All right.
And we were actually high school sweethearts. So it's one of those stories that we got married and stayed married, and there you go. So
where will you live? Where'd you go to high school?
In Wisconsin.
Okay. So you're both from
Wisconsin.
Right.
Yep. Yep. But we actually got married in Tennessee. But we're from Wisconsin.
Okay. Well, we won't go into all that, but again, happy anniversary.
Well, thank you. And now things have changed at the office. We had people working from home, and now they're all back in the office. Debbie's back at the Capitol. All my staff's back at the office here. In fact, Coleman, I got a tie on this morning. I got my suit coat. I'm ready. We've got appointments all day. I got people coming in. Yesterday, I was out in Macon County, Clay County, seeing people, talking to the mayors. It's starting to get back to where we were normal and going out. So, I haven't been able to go to crowds and things like that yet. That's still not up, but we are getting things back up and open, and we're back out in public. So that's been good.
What do you hear in Macon and Clay counties?
Coleman
Anything
was not
different from.
yes, it is. They're mad. They're very angry. And so I'm talking, for example, in Clay County, they're saying, how can you keep us from going to work? There's no virus up here. We only had a couple of cases, and you're keeping us from just making a living. Macon County, they're just very, very frustrated. They don't have many cases up there. The ones that they did have came from Trousdale, from the people that worked at the prison. And otherwise, they're saying, let us go to work. Let us just make a living. And they were frustrated with me and saying that I'm not standing up enough for the governor, telling the governor to take these executive orders off and let them go. I mean, I think if I had maybe 3 people in the entire day yesterday, and I probably talked to 200 people, 3 people thought that the governor was doing okay by doing this and keeping them home. The rest of them, let me go to work. Stop this.
Well, I'm sitting here thinking about the situation here, and pretty much not exactly, but pretty much what we've done here said one size fits all for the whole state of Tennessee.
Yes.
And I can understand in these populated areas and where it's spread and all of this, maybe like Davidson County, Memphis, but Clay County, Macon County, I can understand their frustration.
Yes.
And I bet you can too.
I can, and I heard it loud and clear. It's different in Davidson County. Davidson County has thousands of cases, and they interact with people they don't know. But, everybody knows their neighbor in Clay County. That this is your group. Most of them are related. It's not like it's people, strangers. They all know each other and such. And so they're just very frustrated and want to get back to work. And then on the flip side of that is our unemployment system. I know our commissioner is trying as hard as he can, and I appreciate that. The Commissioner of Department of Labor, and we've gotten so many. There's just so many that our whole systems are overwhelmed. But now it's been since March, and people still have not gotten their checks. Sooner or later, somebody's got to be responsible for saying, I appreciate the hard effort. I appreciate the circumstances that they were put in, but we got to get these people their money. And I hear from people constantly saying, Mark, how am I going to pay my food? How am I going to get food? How am I going to get diapers for my child? What is it that you're doing to help get this done? And we make these calls, and our legislative assistants are trying, and we got staff that are calling, but the Department of Labor will get back to them and say, hey, we're working on your case, but that doesn't get them their check. And there's a difference between just saying, hey, we're working on it. They need money, and they need that check quickly. We need to let them get back to work. So I'm not trying to be real hard on the guy. I understand, but somebody's got to take responsibility. Get this done and get these checks written. I don't care if we have to spend more money, get more people. We've hired a couple hundred people, but if that's not enough, get it done. And I'm getting very frustrated with the commissioner myself. And I called him to let him know that we were a little bit, our patience is starting to run very thin, at least at my end.
What kind of response you get? We're working on it.
That's exactly right. You can go back, and don't get me wrong, Coleman, I understand we got, 500,000 people that have filed claims when you're only used to having 3,000 per week. It's overwhelming. It is. But if we've got to make some emergency checks, if we've got to do something to help them get their money, people's lives are at stake. And here's something else. It's their credit scores. It's not just that they aren't going to have the money, but how do you rebuild that credit score when you've worked so hard for so long, making your car payment, making everything, and then you just can't pay it? And it'll affect them for a long time to have to rebuild these things. And these are just good, hard-working people. It's not their fault, but they're going to end up paying a price for this. And it's time for us as a state to step up and get the job done.
And it's time for us to take a break. A little past time. Our Friday Senate report with Senator Mark Pody will continue in a moment. This is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:19. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank our friends at Bates Ford and the low price tire guarantee on all tires every day. Up to 30 days after the sale, there'll be any competitor's pricing on the tires they sell. 1673 West Main. Now at traffic. Here's Chuck.
Well, good morning. There's still rubbernecking here in Rutherford County because of this accident here on 24 westbound at Elmaville Road. It's just dragging along here on 24 west between Elmaville Road and 840 here in Rutherford County. Again, it's just a lot of unnecessary rubbernecking. Traffic starting to build pretty good now at times. 65 southbound coming down through Madison. Hey, spring allergies are no fun. Try the natural way to get rid of them. Sinus syrup from that elderberry lady. Log on to that elderberrylady.com. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
In times of crisis, and especially when you're isolated, it helps to know someone has your best interest at heart. At Wilson Bank and Trust, standing strong for others has always been one of our most important roles, and we're still here for you now. Through these days of disruption and distancing, you can count on us to keep you connected with your financial services, and will continue to provide financial relief for households and businesses. Thanks for supporting our ongoing commitment to service. Working together, we'll weather this storm too. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Gregory Dental in Lebanon is a family dental practice located across from University Medical Center. They offer cosmetic procedures, dental implant services, and now featuring new digital dentures. Premium dentures in just 2 appointments. No insurance, no problem. Call about our discount plan.
Hi, I'm Dr. Derek Gregory. In my office, you can count on compassionate staff who will truly listen to you, take the time to get to know you, and discuss your personal needs. I look forward to meeting you.
Gregory Dental Group, 444-0322, West Medora Parkway across from Gibbs Pharmacy.
Coleman and Company, our Friday Senate report with Senator Mark Pody. Okay. You're meeting people all day today. Yeah.
So back in session. So next on the 26th, so it won't be next week, but the following week, we'll be back in committees. And I'm getting the bills in order that we have. They've, at least in the Senate, we're really trying to cut down to just each of us having a few bills, and if it's not government or related to the budget, we're probably not going to hear them. Anything that's got an expense, we probably won't hear. But one bill that I do have, and I don't know if it's going to be heard or not, but I was the one that was trying to name the Bible as the state book. Now, Coleman, everybody, I would hope that they know where I stand on my Christian beliefs, and I got to tell you that here in Tennessee, we print more Bibles. We got Thomas Nelson. We got so many groups that are in Nashville that we're called the Bible Belt and such. We got so much of our economy. We got the Gideon's International Home Office here. There's so much that we've done that I just believe that the Bible is who I stand and what I stand for, and I'd love to have that as the state book, and we'll see how that goes. I don't know. It was done 2 years ago, or I should say 2 sessions ago, and the governor vetoed it. We passed it in the House, passed it in the Senate, and the governor ended up vetoing it, and we couldn't get it done to override the veto. But we're trying it again.
Will Governor Lee veto it?
He's not committed one way or the other, whether he will or not. There's some people that say, hey, they feel it might detract from the value of the Bible. Others say, well, what about other beliefs and such? And what I'm saying, there's no book that is in Tennessee that has given the economic impact as the Bible here, and built and directed and changed the culture of who we are in Tennessee. There's just no other book that's done near what the Bible has done. So we'll have to wait and see. I don't know if he'll veto it or not. I don't know if we'll be able to get it passed or not, especially in this session where we are right now.
If it is voted on, will it pass, you think? It did before.
It did before, yes, it did before. And I believe it would pass again. But right now, the question is going to be, is this something that we really want to take up, or is this, do we just want to do and move forward with what the budget issues are? You know, I've got another bill that I'm supporting police. You know, I just love our police and law enforcement people. Yet people can always throw say there's a bad apple somewhere in any profession, okay? And I get that. But overall, the police are just one group that I really commend and want to make sure I'm supporting. And they sure don't do it for money, because they're one of the lowest paid people that we have. So anything I do to help with their respect or support or equipment, I try and do that way as well. So I'm working on that bill. And I got another bill for fraud. You know, there's still a lot of fraud in, for example, Medicare and TennCare, things like that. And that costs all Tennesseans. And what's ironic is, because that's a limited pool of money, those that are taking advantage of it, it keeps it from the people that really need it. And so we got a bill that should be helping address that. And I'm going to be presenting that on the 26th. So we'll have to wait and see, because that's going to actually save Tennessee money, and it'll help add money to our budget rather than take money away. Because the way it's set up, Social Security and Congress passed a bill to protect Social Security from fraud, and we would piggyback on that, and the federal government would actually pay for our fraud department here in Tennessee. It just makes sense for us to do it. I mean, it's just a savings to us. We have no cost and only savings.
You feel there's much opposition to that?
There is, because I've got some people that say, well, Mark, even if we hire 4 people to do this, then we're expanding government. And you know, right now, is this the time that we should expand government for anything? So because it would be new, 4 new positions, then I get that thought, okay? I mean, because I don't want to expand government in any way either, especially right now. But, you know, if we can help those that need to get on TennCare, I want to help them. And if there are some that are taking advantage of it that don't need to be on there, or doing it by fraud, we need to get them off. So I see the balance, and I understand, and I don't know if we've got the votes to do that or not, but we're going to try if they're going to allow these bills to be heard.
Do you feel like the House maybe is going to want to have a longer session than you in the Senate? I kind of reading between the lines. That's kind of where I felt it is.
That's exactly right. I think the House wants to do and hear all the bills. I mean, they want to hear everything that is out there. And I've got actually 23 bills that I didn't run that are still pending. And, you know, I've looked through them and weeded them down to just like a half dozen that I felt were important. But I got to look at it this way. You know, if we're in a cruiser, or we're on a cruise ship and we hit an iceberg, not that cleaning the kitchen isn't important, but we got to take care of what the real issues are right now.
Yeah, good analogy.
And so I don't think I want to be spending time on the wrong focus. You know, let's get through this crisis right now. Let's get Tennessee back to work. How can we focus on what we really need to be doing and pass on all the other things? You know, and that's even kind of where I look at with the Bible book. Even though I'm passionate about it, Coleman, we got to get people back to work.
Yeah, and here again, we in doing a budget, there I would think quite a bit more unknowns. I mean, we never know from one day to the next, but we had a pretty good idea before the 3rd of March, and then in the March when the coronavirus came along. Before all that, we had a pretty good idea where we were, what to expect. We could plan. Now we really don't know, do I mean, you don't know how low or how long it's going to take to get back to something fairly normal.
That's exactly right. And, you know, we got Billy Goodman here, and he is an incredibly intelligent person. I mean, he is really smart. And we were talking before we got on this morning, and, you know, we don't know how bad the hole is, so we don't know how hard we're going to have to dig out. But even
that's what I was trying to say.
and so even the federal government, they're saying that they're going to pass maybe another $3 trillion. That's our taxpayer money that sooner or later we got to pay back. We can't keep just spending money. We got to cut back. We got to get this economy back, get people back to work, open up. And it's not that it's not a real virus, but just the people that are vulnerable, the people that are over 65, the people that are in a situation where they got underlying health conditions. You know, let's help protect them. but let's get the rest of us back to work. And we need to be, instead of using a sledgehammer, let's use a scalpel to address what the real needs and issues are. We didn't know when we first got these numbers. We thought that we just were going to be overrun with deaths. We just thought there was going to be a huge, huge crisis, and it hasn't turned out that way. It's turning out that we're making it bigger than what it really is. Here in Tennessee, we haven't even had 300 deaths. We've got, if we look at the numbers today, we have less people that have died in Tennessee this year than they did last year. I mean, totally, even with this virus. It's not been the pandemic that we thought it was. It's now being created more by emotions, not facts.
Well, I have an idea. If things don't get turned around, we're going to have more people who are more frustrated than what you encountered in Macon and Clay County yesterday.
That's exactly right. And here in Tennessee, I think if we look, our numbers are some of the best in the nation. We have really, really done well in addressing this. But even at that, it's time to go back to work. And my message is to the governor, and this is what I tell him, this is what I text him, this is what I tell him when I'm talking to his assistants and so forth. Let us go back to work and get this economy back going. We will handle what we need to. Those that need to stay home should stay home. Those that are feeling compromised, we'll take care of them. But get the economy back going. Get people so they're not losing their homes and their places to live, and so they can eat.
Well, I hope you have some productive meetings today. What's next week look like?
Well, so next week
you'll be preparing for the following week, I guess.
And I'll be down at the Capitol. So I was down there one day this week, and I'll be back to the Capitol for a couple of days next week. We can't actually have regular meetings down there unless it's by appointment. But if you call my office, and I'd be happy to meet you either in Lebanon or at the Capitol, and I will be down there. There's a little bit of a criteria now to get in, but at least it is open, so people can get in. They got to do screening, and so forth. I think there would be like temperature checks and such, but we are getting back to normal, and I think that we're supposed to lead, and that's what I want to be. I want to be out. I want to be open. I want to be having appointments. People want to call. Debbie's scheduling them for me right now, and I'm ready to go. And if you are having unemployment issues, please call the office. I'd love to say that we can cut through everything, but it's getting hard, but we at least get us on this list, so we're one of those calls for you.
Thanks for being with us today. See you next Friday.
Thank you, Coleman.
Senator Mark Pody on Friday Senate Report, and this is Coleman & Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:31. Let's see what's happening on the roadways. Want to thank our friends at Absolute Kubota and Rental. They have a large inventory of new and used Kubota mowers, RTVs, hay equipment, and more. Come in Saturday. Check out the new Kubota products, 1325 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Well, good morning. And just about to finish up the paperwork on that earlier crash out in Rutherford County, 24 westbound near Elmaville Road that slowed down the traffic. OHB and Andrew Jackson Parkway over in Hermitage, they're in the process of moving that accident. Traffic still looks pretty good right now, coming down 65 right now through Madison. Check out their premier luxury vacation cabins near Gatlinburg. Log on to CosbyCreekCabins.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
With churches not being able to gather, we wanted to make sure our audience is aware of our regular Sunday morning programming. We call it God's Country. Starting at 7 to 7:15, it's Southern Gospel and Positive Country music. Then at 7:15 to 7:30, Old Path Missionary Baptist with Brother Jason Wheely. From 7:30 to 8, it's The Gospel Show hosted by Miss Dean. 8 o'clock, it's College Hills Church with Minister Wilson McCoy. At 8:30 to 9, it's Word of God broadcast by Ronnie Briley. From 9 to 9:30, Hillcrest Baptist Church with Pastor John Ferguson. From 9:30 to 10:30, it's Call on God Today hosted by Brother Kenneth Bowen. At 10:30, it's another message from College Hills Church. From 11 to 11:30, Maple Hill Church with Minister Rob Long. And from 11:30 to noon, it's Southern Gospel and Positive Country music. Join us each Sunday on WANT or WCOR or online at WANTFM.com.
The Pavilion
Pavilion Senior Living residents are inviting you to become their new neighbor. If you're looking for a sign to move, call us at 444-5556 to learn more about the details. Or go to thepavilionseniorliving.com for more information. Or better yet, just drop by 1408 Medical Center Drive right behind Tenova Hospital and see for yourself. You should move here.
Today we do have the chance of a few light rain showers in the area, so keep that in mind if you have any outdoor plans. Highs today will climb into the low 80s. Scattered showers do continue on Saturday with highs topping out in the mid 80s. More widespread rain arrives on Sunday. This weather forecast is brought to you by Walker Auction and Realty. Professional auction and real estate services. Get top dollar for your home, land, or personal property. Log on to MikeWalkerAuctions.com. They know auctions. That's a look at your forecast. I'm meteorologist TJ Scott.
Coleman and Company, welcome to part two. It's a Friday morning. We're kind of in a good mood here and ready to get rolling here with our friends who are the C&D team of Exit Rocky Top Realty. We've got Miss Judy here, of course, as always, nearly always. Good morning.
Good morning.
We're glad to have Mike here today. Mike Cox, good morning.
Good morning, Cone.
Good to see you. You're
I'm glad to
smiling.
be
Brought
here.
me my second cup of coffee. I hope you're doing well.
I'm doing real good.
Good. Well, we'll talk more, but ladies first, I guess. After I do say it's C&D Realty, C&D team of Exit Rocky Top Realty, same location there on West Main Street with the same people you've known for years. Great service. It's the same great service they've offered, and somebody answers that phone 24 hours a day. They are people you can trust. And speaking of people you can trust, here's Miss Judy.
Good morning. We're letting Medina rest this morning.
Okay, well, she was by herself last week. Did a really good job.
She does a great job. We
And
were
at
going all
least-
day yesterday, and she had a full day yesterday.
I think at least twice last week she said, "Don't make a move without us."
Oh, that's her deal.
That
She
is
came
hers.
up with that, and she's not going to let me live it down.
Right. Well, what's new with you?
Well, I want to say a happy birthday to one of our customers that we've got her farm listed up in Statesville, and it's Patrick Winters. And she's a wonderful lady, and she had a birthday, and we just want to wish her a very, very happy birthday. She listens in. And also, somebody else that was listening in this morning is Lynn Jordan. He's the bowling coach at Cumberland. And, you know, Grayson, our grandson, goes there. And they did not get to finish their season, but they had a wonderful year, the part that they did get to do. But he was listening in, so we just wanted to say good morning to Lynn Jordan.
Oh, absolutely. I've known him for a long time. He's kind of a jack of all trades. He's done a lot of things, and I think most of them he's done well.
That's right. Well, we enjoy having him as Grayson's coach, and he does a good job.
Yeah.
But I wanted to talk about a couple of listings. We've got a new listing, and it's down close to Opry Mills off Old Hickory Boulevard. And it's a good starter home, so it won't last long. We're putting the signs up tonight. But it's 1,250 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths. It's a brick home in a nice little subdivision. It has a private backyard. That's one good thing. The subdivisions around there, it's hard to get the privacy, but this one does back up to the woods. And it has a big deck on the back. It has some new hardwood in the kitchen and in the living room. And it has a covered front porch, and it's going to be $199,900, which when you can get a house for under $200,000, brick house, 3 bedrooms, 1.5 baths, it'll go fast. But anyway, we'll start the showings tomorrow on that. So if you're interested, it's close to Opry Mills. They're moving to the Lebanon area. So
You're going to actually be able to get inside and see. Are you doing a virtual
oh no,
show?
you can go inside that one. You can go inside that one. And it'll be ready tomorrow for viewing. We've got several that even if people live there, people have we have a consent form that they have to sign, and they want their house shown, and they leave. And what we do is open all the doors and the cabinet doors and the closets, and open everything. So when the people come through, they don't have to touch anything.
Oh, okay.
They just walk through and look, and that we just let them look. And what they do, the people going in have to sign the consent form, and the people that own the house have to sign the form. So, you know, there's a form for everything. So they came up with this form to cover everybody. But
well, it's better in the long run.
that's right. I mean, it's another form to add to our list of 50 forms already. But and then also we've got the farm out on Eastover Road, and it's 11.84 acres. The house is 5,284 square feet, 5 bedrooms, 4.5 baths. And it has a 2-car garage in the basement with a storm shelter. And then it has a 4-car garage that will hold 6 cars out that's detached. So you can really park about 8 cars at this house inside. So if somebody is interested in having a lot of vehicles or a workshop, and that one is $774.9. So it's available. It's vacant. It's ready. It's a log. The house is completely log home, and it's a really good deal. It has a swimming pool and a big fountain and that kind of thing.
Oh, it's a wonderful place, isn't it?
It's got hills all around it. It looks like a Gatlinburg retreat is what it looks like, because the thing is completely log.
Well, maybe that one won't stay around long.
I hope not. And I'm going to let Mike talk now.
Okay, Mike, again, good to have you.
Well, good to be here, Coleman. Just the girls have been really busy. I know everybody thinks in this, this time we're having here that things are slow, but with the way the rates have lowered and everything, I mean, it's not a better time to buy you a house than it is right now. Things are really selling good. So if you're interested in, buying a house, selling a house, I mean, give us a call.
As long as you got that paycheck coming in.
Yeah.
Which we can't say for everybody right now, but if you're one of the people who are fortunate, it probably hadn't been a better time.
No, it has not. I mean, they lowered rates again, and so it's really is a great time, to still, and there's a lot of people, we've had a lot of people just in the county that have just swapped houses here recently. So a lot of people are still moving. And you still got all the people that are coming in here that had gotten jobs previously. Well, they got to come on in because they got to start their new job. So, a lot of them do that around, school breaks and things like that. So we're seeing a lot of them with, I think they had a doctor in the other day that was doing his final look and everything. So.
Well, you certainly are available, and knowing you and Miss Judy, and I think Medina's almost a carbon copy here. You don't let anything slow you down if you can help it. You're out there working.
Yeah, everybody in our office has been amazingly. They've been busy. Somebody sold something. Just about every one of them have. So it's been pretty good.
All right. Well, good to see you this morning. Anything else?
Good to be here. No, I'm pretty good. We're just kind of waiting to see what's going to happen with the fair. So we're that's a big decision.
I'm
glad I'm not the one got to make the decision.
I think the executive board's got to do that, and I believe there are 11 of those, so it may be a 6-5 vote, but I don't know which way it's going to go.
Yeah, I know. See. I just, I hate it, but it's the times we're in. I mean,
I know.
They got to do what they feel is safe for everybody.
I still hope we can have a fair.
Oh, I know it. Yeah. That would be something I'd really miss, so.
All right. Well, thank you all for being with us. We've had Mike and Miss Judy this morning, the C&D team, Exit Rocky Top Realty on West Main Street. They're people you can trust, and
don't make a move without us.
You're Medina this morning. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
We'll see y'all next Friday. We're 20 before the hour. I have, before I introduce my guest here, let me say this. I did a program on the pre-kindergarten online registration for the Lebanon Special School District. And when Scott Benson was here Tuesday, we talked about it a little bit again. But today is the final day for the enrollment. And you go online, www.lssd.org, and follow the links and whatever. If you have a child that it's for age 4 on or by August 15th, and they might be eligible for pre-kindergarten. So today's the deadline for pre-registration, so check it out. Philip Warren is the Administrator for Elections. He is with us this morning. Philip, good morning.
Good morning, Coleman.
You have talked with MJ a time or two, and I want to think that everybody that listens to me doesn't necessarily listen to MJ. Everybody that listens to MJ doesn't necessarily listen to me in our program here, but we've got actually a couple more pretty big elections this year, maybe not as big as sometimes, but the fact that the times are changing and there are things to talk about, and you're here to do that this morning. So we welcome you again.
Well, we appreciate the radio and doing with MJ and doing with you. There's a lot to talk about this year with elections. We've got some big ones.
I want to address something in the beginning here, and I you can talk about this at length, I'm sure, but I think that people, when they reach a certain age, have an opportunity to vote absentee just because they are a certain age. But otherwise, there's some move afoot in some states and some people who are wanting to to be able to vote by mail or receive a ballot or something, which sounds like a lot of money, a big expense to me for one thing. But another thing, it seems like that there might be a move afoot to try to overturn the way we've had elections all these years. I know you know a lot more about that than I do.
That's been a big topic this year with all that's going on. Tennessee has great laws. In Tennessee, if you're eligible to vote and you want to vote, you can vote. I don't think there's anybody that couldn't vote if they're eligible. We have laws in Tennessee for absentee voting. It hadn't been used a lot. I think in Tennessee we're like 4 or 5% of the people statewide traditionally vote by mail, and those are people that are in most cases out of town. They're in the hospital, they're sick, disabled, and can't get out, that kind of thing. But you're right. Anybody over 60 years old can vote by mail with no excuse. That's been in the law for many, many years. So it's not something new. It's just something we haven't really taken advantage of, people that hadn't taken advantage of. And I think this year we're seeing an uptick in people that may be a little bit nervous about being in crowds, that feel like this might be a better way to do it for the August election. And we're taking applications now. They can go to our website, wilsonelections.com, get all the information, get the form, send it to us, and we'll send them a ballot.
And that's anybody, any registered voter that's eligible.
That's right.
60 years and over.
That's right. And in Tennessee, we have photo ID. We all know that when we come to vote, we show our driver's license or our passport or some form of state or federal photo ID. And in order to be eligible to vote, you had to have voted in person the first time or registered in person. So it's not the kind of thing that we hear about and maybe are nervous about, that somebody could just register to vote and absentee and we never see them. That doesn't happen in Tennessee. We've done a tremendous job with that in this state.
You mentioned well, we've got the August election, which is partly a general election and some primaries there, and maybe some more. Then, of course, the November election, when we'll have the president and a lot of others. This, as far as our county goes, general election for the counties is what we call the off year. There's not many on the ballot there like there will be in 2 years, where the sheriff and register of deeds and county clerk, circuit court clerk, and all of those, nearly all the county offices are 4-year term. But for some reason, and I remember years ago when we elected the superintendent of schools and the property assessor, they were always on the off.
That's right.
And now we have an appointed director of schools that only leaves the property assessor.
Well, this year we've got several others. We got the property assessor, which is a 4-year term, but we had several vacancies that had to be filled. We got the general sessions judge, Division 3, I think, in the county. You've got 2 15th judicial offices, the circuit court judge and the public defender, which are filling vacancies. All these will be back up again in 2022 for the full 6-year term. We also, in the county, we have Gary Keith's seat, 17th Commission District, that's filling the vacancy for Gary. I think that's all. But it was quite a bit on the local election.
Well, we got some school boards.
School boards, yes. Oh, my goodness. 1, 3, 5, and 7 are all on the ballot this time.
Are they all contested?
They are. They are all contested,
So
yes.
each incumbent has some opposition.
That's right.
There.
Yeah.
Okay, we got more to talk about. Philip Warren is here, Administrator of Elections, and I want to talk about your building before you leave this morning, present and maybe future. And anyway, this is Coleman and Company, FM 98.9.
And it's now 7:46 to see what's happening on the roadways. Thanks to Bates Ford Lifetime Brake Pad Guarantee. With the purchase of a brake service, replacement brake pads will be provided at no cost for as long as the customer owns a vehicle. Bates Ford, 1673 West Main. Now at traffic, here's Chuck.
Well, good morning. It is looking better now out here on 24 westbound at Elmaville Road in Rutherford County from that earlier crash. So just filling out paperwork on that wreck in Hermitage. It's a non-injury collision there at OHB at Andrew Jackson Parkway. Traffic still not too bad, leaving Lebanon right now as you travel down I-40, leaving Wilson County there into Hermitage. Hey, check out the premier luxury vacation cabins near Gatlinburg. Log on today, CosbyCreekCabins.com. I'm Commander Chuck. You're on time traffic.
Don't put off the things you should do today. Start a financial plan with Waypoint Financial Partners. Waypoint, your future, your way. For more information, call the Lebanon office of Waypoint Financial Partners at 615-444-6548. Securities and investment advisory services offered through AXA Advisors, LLC, 212-314-4600. Member FINRA, SIPC, Waypoint. Your future, your way.
During this pandemic, people have cleaned out their closets, decluttered their homes, and improved their landscaping.
Well, now since your home is looking good, maybe you should think about selling it, but you don't have a clue what you might could get for it.
You can call us to come out and give you a market value price with no obligation.
Remember, don't make a move without us.
Call Judy Cox or Medina Himmentoller at Exit Rocky Top Realty, C&D Team, 443-3130.
Company, thanks for joining us. Our final segment here on a Friday morning. I don't know about you, but I'm kind of looking forward to the weekend. It's supposed to be warmer. Philip Warren's with us. You're a big fan of warmer weather, or what?
Absolutely. Anytime.
It seems like that we have not really gotten into spring too far here. Of course, a lot of rain, but the winters, the dogwood winter and locust winter and all that, they've been colder than usual, it seems. And I was delighted yesterday afternoon. It got into the 80s.
And the sunshine.
Yeah, there you go. Well, we're talking elections. Election is your thing, and you have a staff of people, and you do your best for us to have a fair election. There are laws that regulations that we follow, which pretty much ensure that. And I want to think that we are one of the better states, and I want to think that Wilson County and the job that you do there makes us one of the better counties as far as having fair elections.
That's our goal. And yes, Tennessee has some of the best election laws in the country. As we talk to administrators and people that are involved in elections around the country and hear what kind of challenges they have, our legislators over the years, many years, have put together some very thoughtful laws that cover a lot of the issues they're having to deal with now. And they're having to play catch up and do reactive lawmaking to adjust their elections where they are fair and honest.
Well,
in these times.
A person in your position here, regardless of your personal feelings, should the whole gist of things, your whole agenda, I think, should be to have a fair election.
It is.
That every vote counts, and it's not a Democrat or Republican thing. We just want to, with the majority rules, whoever gets the most votes wins, and hopefully they've all been cast fairly, and that's what it's all about. And it sounds simple enough, but some people try to rig the system, or there's some out there who would change things to their advantage, and that's wrong.
There are always people with agendas, no matter what you're in. And, our goal and our mission even says to protect the integrity of every single vote cast. Yeah. And that's my vote, your vote, and anybody else that votes. And we want people to vote. We want to encourage them to vote. When we make decisions about how we're going to, the procedures and what we're going to do, how we operate our office and operate elections in this county, our number one goal, what we look at, is how's this going to affect the voters. Mm-hmm. It's not how does it make our work less. Believe me, it hadn't made our work any less, and hadn't made the procedures and the preparation and the training of our poll workers any easier. But we're looking at how it's going to affect the voters, and we do this for the voters of Wilson County. I'm a voter of Wilson County too, and have been for many years.
Let me ask this: because of the coronavirus, the COVID-19, can we expect? And it's a little bit till August. What is it? August 6th.
Well, we start voting in July 17th.
Early voting. All right. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Will it be any different?
It will. We're making preparations. We don't know how the situation will be then, but we have to assume it's like it was now or before now. So we're making preparations to protect the poll workers and to protect the voters. The poll workers will have protective gear. We'll have plexiglass shields in front of their stations. There will be distancing put in place at all the polling places. So voters need to be aware that it will seem like the lines are longer. Where you could stand next to somebody and visit before, now you're going to have to stand apart from those people. So the lines will look longer.
Maybe 6 feet?
Yeah, 6 feet.
Okay.
So the line should move fairly quickly. The system is the same. We've actually streamlined it a little bit to reduce the amount of touching of materials.
Do you think maybe because of what you're saying here, there'll be more early voting?
I hope so. I really do. Early voting is great. Yeah. We vote from the 17th of July through August the 1st. We have 5 locations in the county, open every day, Monday through, except Sunday, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, 8 to 6 rather, and Saturday, 8 to 1. So there's a location that's convenient, close to everybody in the county. That's one of the easiest ways to vote. You can pick a pretty day. It doesn't have to be raining or be cold. You can pick a pretty day. You can pick a day when the line's not too long.
You've got 2 in Mount Juliet, 1 in Gladeville, 1 here, and 1 in Watertown.
That's correct.
Yeah.
That's correct. So we cover all the county. So we're pretty much wherever you are. There's something
one
convenient.
of those, you should be fairly close to one of those
Absolutely.
locations if you're in Wilson County.
Oh, anytime, right. And if one of them's too busy, my goodness, Watertown is always, that's the one that's the furthest away in that end of the county. You can go down there. Great place to vote.
Well, nice little scenic
It
drive
is.
if you want
Good
a few
food.
minutes to get away.
Go down there and have lunch.
Yeah, we give them a commercial here.
Yeah.
But on election day, that's going to be a little bit different too, isn't it? May not from the left, but I mean that has changed some.
It has, and thank goodness it did. On March the 3rd, the first election we had with vote centers, the tornado hit that morning, and believe me, that was a day that will long be remembered. And we learned a lot of lessons. We had a great plan in place. Tammy and I work on plans and contingencies and try to think up what could happen, what will happen, and then have something in place to take care of that, hoping it'll never happen.
Mm-hmm.
It happened. And I want to compliment the poll workers. We had almost 200 poll workers that showed up that morning in the dark at the polling places and did an absolutely magnificent job. They voted as many people on Election Day amidst all the carnage of that tornado as they had voted through all of early voting. That many people turned out in Wilson County. The voters were great. They put up with what had to be done. We had people voting by flashlight. They had to use paper books. We didn't use all our technology. It was unbelievable.
I hadn't even thought about this, and you probably talked with this to MJ the other day, but I didn't hear all that. Voting with a flashlight.
Yeah, I mean, there was no light. We were in school buildings, gyms that didn't have windows, didn't have light.
Must have been a paper ballot.
No, we actually could use our equipment. That's one of the things we thought about when we purchased this new equipment back in 2016, is it has a battery backup.
Okay.
And so it lasts like 6 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And that gave us plenty of time to get generators out there and continue to use the electronic voting system, the system we use now. So people didn't have to mark a paper ballot. They did a paper application where they would have done a computer-generated application prior. They did a paper application. But our equipment is set up to take care of these issues, to compensate for it. So it worked really well. TEMA was great. WEMA was unbelievable help that day. Our office didn't have electricity, didn't have phones. The main office didn't all day long. It came on at 7:30. Polls closed at 7, and it came on at 7:30. But we operated, and it's not us. It's not we can create the greatest plan that ever was. You can have the greatest battle plan put together that ever was. If you hadn't got the troops and you hadn't got the people that are well-trained, committed, dedicated, you have nothing, and we have them in this county. I can't say enough about the poll workers in Wilson County.
It starts at the top, and you did think ahead, and you did prepare for the worst, and in this case, that was pretty close to the worst.
I believe it was. I don't know what else we could have done. We started off that morning with 18 vote centers, and the great thing in Wilson County now, you can vote anywhere. There is no specific place you have to go. You could go to any of our places and vote. Whatever you were closest to, you could go vote. We lost, of the 18, 2 of them were not usable because of the tornado that morning, and so we had 16. Of those 16, 10 of them had no power when we opened up. By the end of the day, 4 still had no power. But we had generators. TEMA helped us with that. WEMA helped us with that. We got generators to them. We operated. And like I said, we voted as many people on Election Day as voted all through early voting.
What a day you won't forget, as you already said, but were you on the phone the most of the day? What were you doing all that time?
I don't remember.
But it worked.
It worked. I think we were doing everything from being on the phone to that was, you were using mobile phones. Mm-hmm. That's what we use for communication, that and some other things. But, generators, there were just so many things. I really couldn't tell you. We made it through it, and it turned out great. And we had our results in by 8:30.
Yeah.
No change in that. The system is there, and it's great. And poll workers make it work.
Let's switch horses a little bit here. You have plans to the Fred's Fred's over by the post office went out of business. The county bought that building with the idea of moving your office there to take up 2/3, 3/4 of the building, I believe. Where are we in that?
We're, I think, in the planning stages. Last I talked, the architect is supposed to be looking at it, and we were hoping to be in by August so that we could have early voting there. Coleman, you got to realize, 10 years ago when I came in, we had 76,000 registered voters. We have almost 90 today. Early voting has increased from 50%, 40%, 35% to over 70% every election. With this situation we're in today, it's getting more and more, it's getting harder and harder to serve those voters in the way they want to be, in the way they're used to be, with the facilities we've got. We've got 2 facilities. We've got our office at the old post office, which is a wonderful building. Yeah. I mean, we love that building, and it's really hard to talk about moving from that. But that's our administrative offices. Then we have another building that's bigger than that one over at the new school administrative offices. They gave us a spot there. We're in the spot there for all our equipment and our supplies and our training. So what we want to do, just for long term for the county, is put those 2 together. So it's all in one place. It saves a lot of money. It's just convenient, plus efficiency of us doing our work. And that's what we're shooting toward. In early voting, the location there would allow people to come in and go out a different way and have more space. So we're in the process. I think the architect's working on it. Hopefully they can start on it, and maybe, keep your fingers crossed, we could have early voting there in October.
With the maybe financial crunch we're going to be under because of the economic downturn, is that going to affect you much?
That shouldn't. The county commission funded it. When they bought it, they funded the repairs, and I think there's some federal money that's being looked at now to maybe pay for it instead of those funds. So that shouldn't affect it. I think it's more just moving along. Yeah. You know, and government moves slow.
Well, knowing how much you love the old post office building, what would you like to happen to it?
That's not it. That's well above my pay grade.
No, I didn't ask that way. I said, what would you like?
It needs to be preserved. It has got more history. That is the oldest public building in Wilson County. Yeah. And you know, Wilson County unfortunately has lost some of their old buildings, their historic buildings. There's a lot of history in that building. Yeah. There's a lot, and it can tell some stories. And if you sit there and look at it, you can really hear some things.
Well, I can remember as a little boy going in there with my daddy, and Mr. Albert Fight was one of the people who worked behind the. Actually, they had the almost bars.
They're still there.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You know what I'm talking about. Yeah, there's a lot of history in that building.
There is, and it's a great old building.
Okay, well, thanks for being out here. I'm sure we'll do it again a time or two before election, but everybody's not on the ballot, but it's still going to be a couple of big elections here in August and November, and the presidential election's always a big one. So,
and we want to encourage everybody to come vote. If you haven't registered, it's easy to register. Go online to wilsonelections.com. There are links there to register you to vote. You can do it in just a few minutes. It's safe, secure. Come and see us. Whatever we want you to vote.
Thanks for being with us this morning. Really appreciate it. That's it for Friday. Have a nice weekend, everybody. And until Monday, I wish you a fantastic day.